Go tape.
Content and record.
Got it again. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the ROONS MIZZ Arsenal chat. I'm ROONS,
And I'm Miz.
and we come at you every once in a while these days. We talk about all things Arsenal, but Miz, I think the last time we talked, it was before Burnley, or not Burnley, Brighton.
Brighton, yeah.
We expected a win. We got a draw, and it could have been one of those back to, it was like we were playing that kind of negative sideways football. Got a draw. We were hoping for a win, but since then, with the Aston Villa game and Watford, I think there was another one in there. I feel like Leeds, we're just on a roll.
Unbeaten in 10.
Yeah, and more so than that, the way we're playing, I'm seeing things that I'm very excited about, and it's looking good, and it looks like that can be sustainable. How do you feel about it?
I agree. I mean, I think obviously the first 3 games of the season, we had a tough period, and there was a lot of pressure mounting on Mikel. And, I think we all, as Arsenal fans and anyone that's in trees out there, a lot of us have kind of had to swallow our pride a little bit after this last bit of run of form, because we might have gotten it wrong a little bit just in a lot of walks. We even talked about Ramsdale and him not what kind of that was. And everything seems to be switched with this new crop of players that we have in this new system that we're using, because everybody seems to be understanding of what they need to do and how they need to play, and everybody seems very hungry and after it. And I've been really enjoying the games, each one of them lately, because we kind of have that feel again of the Arsenal back, where there's a feel good factor in the club, and you can sense that other people are paying attention to us now. We're the Premier League's informed team right now, and we're in 5th for a reason at the moment. Like, we're in the fold. We're nowhere near out of that group. We play Liverpool next, and they just lost to West Ham, and who knows what could happen coming up. That's a game I'm nervous about, but also at the same time, like, if we keep balling, we got something special.
I agree. I couldn't agree more. I think usually we're about to play Liverpool and we're just expecting a smacking. This time I'm actually intrigued. I don't think anyone would put us as the favorites or think we're going to win, but more so, I think, everything you're saying is right. Like, we're the informed team in the Premier League, period. And that's a powerful thing that we haven't felt in a while. And again, the things that we're doing and the way we're playing, and like you said, the new crop of players, which I think, we were skeptical. Ramsdale, for that much money, after the snafu with Martinez, it was just like we have a lot of reason to be very suspicious of anything that happens in a transfer window at Arsenal. So
of course. I
don't feel
they do weird stuff. Like, the Ramsdale one seemed weird. I think we're all a bit shocked that he is that good. I this time last year, you and I discussed Leno and how lucky we were to have Leno in the goal, and fuck all that. We're lucky to have Ramsdale in the goal. That dude is masterclass. Like, I don't know.
His attitude, his proactiveness is this spark that we were missing. And it's crazy. Like, it starts from the back, but the goalie does what he's doing is setting a chain reaction that you can see go through like a wave through the defense, midfield, forwards. And they're all riding that wave. And you're seeing, yes, this is what we were missing. That, like, slow, off the pace, stilted soccer is being replaced by proactive, flowing, attacking football. And defensively, we're solid because he will come out and catch crosses,
and make saves that, like, you just, I forgot what, dude, dude, that one that was like just everybody's talking about. He was all the way backwards in the air and adjusted mid-air 6 feet off the ground to make that save. And like that
And blocked it again.
some part
Rebound.
and blocked it. Some of that is just, you can't teach that. That like he understands something different back there, and his overall comfort on the ball. He's really good with the ball, and he's like Neuer. I mean, he that first week he played that one pass that you were like, oh, dude, I don't know about this dude. And then ever since then, he's really calmed down, and he
had that one moment against Watford where you find out and everyone's like, whoa, okay, pump the brakes there. You're going a little too proactive. But I mean, by and large, he's been so symbolic of the change and so necessary. Like, it's crazy. In sports, it's like all you need is a mental change of perspective sometimes, because all these players are training, they're in shape, they're obviously good. They never would have gotten near Arsenal without being good.
Right.
It was like a mental switch. They needed to see someone else do something good, and then they can follow on that.
Well, then it accompanied with like the solid back line. I mean, even with Tierney out right now, we got Nuno Tavares, who I just think is fantastic. He has a good right foot. He looks like he wants to score all the time.
He overlaps. Really, you see him make to overlap.
Dude, Tierney is not careful. He'll lose the spot to Nuno, and you can't even be mad about that, because like you're gonna be like, dude, this dude is obviously really, really good, and he can play on the right. And then you add Tommy Asu into there, and he's changed things on that side completely. And then this partnership of White and Gabriel is just what we really have been missing in the middle. You got two very good technical, good football players. I mean, they both can dribble. And Ben White, every game looks a little more sure of himself, a little bit more confident running forward. And it changed. We just haven't had that dynamic in a long time. Like, when have we had a center back run through the middle of the field in the last 15 years?
Yeah, that has been such a problem ever since Sol Campbell and Kolo Toure. For me, there hasn't really been a standout center back until Gabriel showed up.
And now, and like, they just look like they're enjoying playing together. You got like this, like, I love it. There's like a mixture of players there. Like, they're all from different countries. They're all like, it's very Arsenal. They're all like international, multicultural, and they all seem to just vibe together, and they all seem to get along. And then moving forward, I mean, I can't say enough about the next player. I mean, Emile Smith-Rowe is just quickly becoming one of my favorite players like I've ever really watched. Like,
everything you wanted him to be,
and more.
And it's wonderful, because he's such a cool dude. His style of play of like old school kind of just get the ball, make something happen in the midfield. Like Pep Guardiola wouldn't know what to do with it.
He's nasty. He has that like last minute touch where like somebody thinks they're going to be able to bite the ball, and he just whoop. Yeah. And it's so clean.
Like what we were missing for so long too was an instinctual player who was like, okay, your job isn't to just be on the left and move here and pass here and blah, blah, blah. It's like, we need you, if the ball's bouncing, we need you to do some sick thing where you get in front of the defender, trap it, move past him, play the sick ball. You know what I mean? Just, you can't what you need to do. You need to learn how to do that in the second. And he's the type of player that can do that, an impact player.
Totally. And he wasn't really scoring last season. Now he's our top scorer at the moment. I mean, he's straight up ball it. Yeah, straight up balling.
Ozil had 5 goals and 2 assists in a season, let alone before Christmas.
No, we're not even to December yet. We're barely to mid-November at the moment. I mean, and we're 11 games in, and he already. I mean, look, he got an England call up the other day for a reason after a few players dropped out, but the phone, please.
Yeah.
Well, dude, I mean, I think he was a bit bummed that he got left out at first, and it was like, what do I got to do to get into that England team? And then people were like, why didn't he make it in? And then all of a sudden he's in it, and he's just, dude, he's just flying. That, you know what I like? I've watched interviews about him, or just things I've seen about him. He's obsessed. He lives with his mom.
Oh, really?
At home. And he's 21. His like still lives at home. He just says he cannot get enough of football. Like, he goes home, he watches as much games as he can, and like he just, that he's going to learn continuously, because he wants to be so good, and that we need someone like that.
Will improve. Like,
yeah,
think about, okay, you buy a player, you hope they turn out well, and then you, in that in between space, you're just kind of like, well, I'll let God figure it out. You know what I mean? Because I don't know what it takes to become. You just think, well, that'll be slow in the beginning, but then they'll get it somehow. Well, how do they get it? They get it by dedicating themselves more and more and more. So if you're seeing that player already with this talent, you're like, he's going to add things to his game. He's going to get stronger, way more comfortable in the.
Well, and he's already noticing some different changes. I read something yesterday on Sky that he had a big diet change. Like, he was eating like Nando's a lot, and like fizzy drinks, and like just overall, like, he's a 21-year-old. He's a 21-year-old guy that like is an athlete, and like he, we all, how many times did we used to eat pizza and McDonald's and shit? Like, we weren't taking care of our bodies the way that you should have, and that stuff matters. The way your body recovers, the way that you move out there, the food that you put into your body. So now he's a personal chef. The club has sent like a personal chef to his house for all of his meals, and he's just like, yeah, I mean, that type of stuff. And then, I mean, look, we haven't even needed Odegaard in the last few games, really. And he, that he's still got more growth, and he's going to get better too. And
yeah. I mean, that's the thing too. And even when going back to Ramsdale, it's like, so he came in, it kind of showed us what we were missing with Leno, because Leno was in a lull. There's no doubt about it. He was in a weird place. And you can say it was justified, because he was carrying the team in a really awkward time. It's hard to be the goalie if the team and defense is all over the place. It's hard to look good. You know what I mean? So he was in a weird place.
You're losing a lot of games. I mean, it's tough.
He got swooped on, but then he came in the League Cup and looked good. That's
because he has to.
He does. We weren't even getting that on the first string, and now we're getting second string, because Odegaard came in. He's looking to do something,
Yeah.
Like, he's coming. It's not just like, oh, well, our first guy is gone, and now we just got to throw in someone who can fill that role and don't mess up, and keep your fingers crossed. Now we're throwing in actual people that are also good and might be better. I mean, you could imagine Odegaard being as good or better than ESR, even at his best.
Oh yeah.
So those people pushing each other, that's what you need as well. And you're seeing these people not lose heart. You're seeing Leno not be like pouting and making a fuss, but coming on against lead and balling like you do. And it's like, now we don't have any gaps.
Yeah. No, I mean, he kind of has to play good, right? Like, whether he wants to stay at Arsenal or go somewhere else, he's kind of in a position now, when he gets an opportunity, he needs to perform. And when you lose your number one spot when you're not that old, because Leno's not even 30. And so, like, when you're at that kind of age and you like already are getting pushed down the totem pole, like, it might light a fire in him too, which he probably is like, dude, what was I doing? Like, my attitude fucking ruined this for me. And now I lost my spot, and and this team's winning. Yeah. I mean, it only takes a little bit of time. Like, you could be really upset with something and be like, we suck, I'm going to leave. And then all of a sudden you're like, we might qualify for Champions League if we keep this up. And then everything's completely different.
Yeah.
And
it's a really powerful thing, that sense of winning, because people want to be a part of it. And however much chance they get, they want it. They're not thinking, oh, why don't I play all the time? Why is this guy playing? They're thinking like, okay, I'll get this sliver. I'm going to make the most of that sliver. And I want more. Yes, I always want more, but like, I just want to be a part of this winning environment. And you're seeing it with the subs, and you got to think, man, we still have Pepe.
Pepe. I mean, I was going to say we have Pepe on the bench a lot of the time right now. We're not even using him. We don't even need him as much.
It's a good move though, because
Yeah.
Saka is coming through. You know, it's like the hard decisions, but it's working out because finally we're letting quality of play dictate who starts, and quality of play at the moment makes hard decisions. It's not kind. You know what I mean? Like there's going to be players that you would wish, I want Pepe out there and doing well, but he's not the starter right now.
Can we discuss someone that's not there? That's just not playing. He's injured. And where are we right now? Like,
I don't know.
I hope that this Granit Xhaka, I mean, is nowhere. Yeah, who?
Oh,
I mean,
he used to play like 2017 or something.
Dude, look at it, the proof is in the pudding right now. We are very much better. Look at Niles.
That's what I was going to say. Can we talk about another center midfielder for Arsenal?
Because he balled. He played
spot Niles.
Dude, he looked really good. It was like who the fuck?
It's basically okay. So Saka scored a goal, and I have never heard that it has to be two people in front of the ball.
Right?
Never heard it phrased that way. You know,
it's two people. I now remembering back to like referee training, it's a really weird scenario, but it is right. If the goalkeeper is moved forward in front of the ball, then one defender is not enough. There has to be two players.
That's a stupid ass rule.
It's very stupid. I agree. I think that after that goal the other day, that should have changed the rule. Just if the governing body watches that back, you'd be like, how is this not a goal? Like that was fair and square.
I was like looking at it and I was like, what just happened here? And I felt like, you know, people say they don't understand offsides, and you're always like, you don't understand. But I was like, I've never heard that fucking rule, dude. And I was pissed off because, dude, if we score that goal, it would be 4 or 5-0 against Watford.
Oh my God! Yeah, totally. They were off and running at that point. But Niles,
he started that with that. He did, yeah. Again, playing with instinctive motions and doing little dink passes when it's on, and that fluidity and kind of freedom to play, and not being so robotic and not being so stiff and closed-minded. You know, I mean that opened up a whole new section.
We have like the great thing about what is going on there right now is that not only do we have this good group, they're all very young. We have a really young team. But on top of that,
is the youngest in the league. Let's say
the youngest in the league.
Literally the youngest in the league.
And everybody we put in seems to be really playing well at the moment. Like, I mean, Lokonga in for Xhaka when Xhaka gets out for his injury is bald. Then Lokonga, great. Partey's playing really well. We take out Lokonga, put in Niles balls. I mean,
Partey was out because he was injured. Niles comes in. Niles, Lokonga were awesome.
Beautiful. I mean, they're just so fast together.
Those are the players you want to see. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
We started the season. The lineup against City was pitiful.
Oh my God. Yeah. We deserved like 5-0.
Yeah, and you saw it, and it was just like, and the thing with Arteta is like, I wasn't convinced after last season and the beginning of this season that he was seeing what we were seeing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Same. We talked about this. Like, what was he looking at?
The team selection and choices were like baffling, and I doubted him for sure. But it seems like he's been able to see something and make the right change, even if it's not according to his own plan. You know what I mean? Like, putting in Lacazette has been as much of an impact, I think, as Ramsey, because we have our offense flowing again too.
Oh,
You
I
know,
mean,
why
Lacazette
why
and
not on the
Aubameyang.
bench this whole time? Like he's one of our best
Yeah,
players. It's like Ferguson said. It's like you have to play your best players. You fit your formation to whatever your best 11 are. I think. Then
yeah,
tactically you do whatever, but tactics only applies to what your best option is. You know,
right,
like you just sit someone because you're like, oh, I'm gonna try some new kind of. It never works, and it doesn't.
right.
You got to get Aubameyang and Lacazette playing at the same fucking time. And look
Well,
what's happening.
they look like they got a new lease on life as well. Like, I mean, you got a hand. I mean, Aubameyang teeters here or there. Like he kind of has that. Like he had a downtime for sure, and I'd say Lacazette too. But you have to give Lacazette a lot of credit. He is a true professional. Like that dude gets left on the bench a lot of the time. He comes in and is no bullshit every time he steps onto the field. That dude is just a pure like professional athlete, and like we are lucky to have ever had him at Arsenal. Like I really rate him. Every time he is in, he's disruptive. He scores goals. He makes things happen. He whether he's taking a player away from a scenario, he's making things move around. And he just his defending's on point, and it's raised the game of Aubameyang in recent time. I mean, Alba looks like he's like scoring and feeling good about himself again. And like, I don't know what's going to happen with Lacazette, but I, I mean, I welcome him staying another year just to merely help the kids or do whatever. I just really like him
With
a lot.
Aubameyang,
But
he needs to stay with Aubameyang.
yeah,
To
they're boys. They're best friends. That's like
they
these
need
guys.
they need to stay together at the same time because they obviously you saw you saw it with their handshake. The whole like, why don't you want those two players on the field at the same time? Keeping one off
Exactly.
for who? Is there anyone on the bench who does a better job in their position than Lacazette?
No,
And what
no,
happens when you play your best players? You see what happens. And then yeah, someone has to sit. Pepe has
yeah,
to sit. That's unfortunate. Or Martinelli is, trying to break into the team. But when you have players like Pepe and Martinelli desperately trying to break into the team because they're not good enough,
they're going to get
that's a,
better.
that's a good sign because they're
Yeah,
either going
totally.
to get better and be their potential, or you have such a high standard that their good players can't start, and that's the problem you want. That's the problem you must have as a team.
What was that game recently? The Lacazette standing near the goal and they scored it. Dude,
Like like DMX, like break it
dude,
down.
you gotta love that energy though. Like you gotta love that vibe of a player that didn't score, that
Like,
is so pumped for his like. Oh, you can see that it doesn't just mean it to him. Like it's not about him.
yeah,
He like
he didn't
it's
like try to kick it in and like like
yeah.
take the goal
I
himself or something.
I just love that. I love that kind of team vibe, and they look like they're getting along again. They look like they I give it to Arteta in this. Like I think he lost the plot for a while,
Yeah,
and I think that they got down a wrong path, and I think that whatever he did to bring it back, he's brought it back. He won the dressing room again. He's like they look to respect him. They look to agree with what he's doing, and really like yeah, that's full credit to him as a person. And maybe he needed a tough time. Tough. No pressure, no diamonds, and like and really like we wrote him off. We might write him off again here at some point again if that happens. But that's part of the managerial role. Like
well, so I feel like I hope not to write him off again, because
yeah, same.
when he's good, and there was glimpses of it last year too, and there's been glimpses of it, and we'll see. I hope this spell we've just had isn't another glimpse, but when he's good and the team is playing well, and what he says, and when you can tell he's not bullshitting, because
Yep.
again, like you said, he lost his way, but then he was always keeping this positive front for the media, and it was hard to watch, and that's where it became like, I'm not sure if he's bullshitting or he just doesn't get it. but something's not right, and you keep playing these players and the wrong, everything looks wrong. But when it's right, and his positivity and what he's saying about the team, it's really exciting because if you believe it, and if the players believe it, we've seen what's possible. And I think we're only starting. And I think Arteta thinks we're only starting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
In regards to the signings, like 50 million for Ben White, I was scoffing. I think we were both.
It was a lot of money. It was a lot of money.
But think about this. He's 23. Virgil van Dijk was 75 million, and I think older at the time. He's gonna look cheap. If it continues the way it's going, this rebuild that we did, that's really coming off well for 120 mil is gonna look ridiculously cheap in 5 years if we keep going anywhere in this same direction.
Oh yeah. No, you're right. I mean, that's a good way to put it. Like, the team is what we bought for what we thought we were not really getting is could turn out to be like really amazing. I mean, like, that group of guys, and you add in one or two other superstars over the next year or two, like, if we need to put a new forward or we need another midfielder, I mean, they're only going to improve and improve. I don't even know where I would strengthen at the moment. Like, honestly, I like the team. Like, I'm like a fan.
Exactly. Like, if you're thinking about the window, who do you want to get? What position do you want to get? Yeah, you want cover. But right now, I feel like every position, there's a good person waiting. There's Martinelli, who I think needs to play center forward,
Yeah, I agree. I don't think he belongs on the flank. He looks more dangerous through the middle.
Yeah, like, if Aubameyang needs to come off, I think he goes on, And if Lacazette comes off, then another midfielder can come on. But
then we got players like Balogun that's on the bench. Like, dude, that dude is going to be amazing. And Nketiah, like,
did he score against Leeds?
Dude,
he did.
Yeah. He almost missed the blunder of a chance. Dude, even the announcer, even the commentator was like, that was an instant meme if he missed that. Was like,
but he took a good touch to get
that was amazing. The build up to that was amazing.
Yeah. I wouldn't sleep on Nketiah, let alone Balogun. I almost feel
those are good players. We don't sell them. No, don't sell them. Keep those guys. Those are
like, what if we just don't buy and we just keep these players coming through, or buy like one or two a season.
Dude, and
right now, I don't know where we would buy.
And then we have another player that's coming through the ranks that's training with the first team right now. Charlie Patino is meant to be fucking unbelievable. If you don't know who that is yet, like, he's young British kid. He's like 17 or something. He's black hair. He is like Emile Smith Rowe in that role, and he, like, so highly rated. Everyone's like, we really have like the next Foden on our hands, I guess is what they're saying. So like, the academy that we have right now has a lot of players in it that, like, we don't even know yet that it's been brewing this system. So maybe, I mean, we have a lot to look forward to, I think, in the next few years. Like, I think we were feeling down and out, and luckily it doesn't feel that way anymore. I don't feel like this is temporary. You don't go 10 games unbeaten in the way that we've gone recently if it's not kind of the real deal.
Look at the quality of team. And the win that really convinced me was Leicester.
Yeah. I was just going to say, that was
Leicester's a solid, fucking good team. They are not naive. They will not let anything cute get past them. You have to full out be better than them to beat them. And we were better than them, and we beat them. It was 2-0. It was
we balled that
comprehensive. Day. That's what showed me. I was like, okay, I believe in this team, because they're not going to let you slide. It wasn't a one-off, or it wasn't a matter of showing heart it was just showing pure class. And
I agree. That was the game that came to my mind just now when I was thinking about, like, who we really played, but we've beaten some good teams. And, like, I think the break not being in Europe this year is helping us, like, rebuild and get stronger. Maybe we genuinely needed this type of system with this type of young players with not Europe for a year, because
I've been
now,
saying it for a while. I mean,
yeah,
if we're gonna like we've said numerous times, if we're gonna lose in the first knockout round of Champions League, I'd rather not be in Champions League, take a year off, rebuild, have less games, come back stronger, than just have a
yeah.
team good enough to get their asses destroyed in the first knockout stage of the Champions League. Like,
And also the Europa League, let's be real. Like it's kind of a joke in some regard. You get money, but the Thursday game fucks the entire weekend up. It messes the next week up. You're traveling on the wrong days, and
yeah.
it's not good for the players. And we're seeing the reason that they're so good. First, we had no one in the international teams for a little bit. They got a chance to really get to know each other. I think that this Arsenal team really understands one another and really likes each other, and that's important. We've been talking about for a while, a team needs to be a team, and
On and off. Yeah.
on and off,
and as teammates.
Yeah.
You understand each other and how each player wants the ball and how, what the common goal is. You understand it more clearly.
Like United right now, I don't see a lot of friends at United.
Individuals.
Yeah, and Ronaldo's there balling and scoring goals as Ronaldo does, but that he's not hanging out with all the boys, and that they're not. That he probably butts head with Pogba a little bit, and that there's just a lot of egos there. So and they look to be out of sorts. I don't give Ole that much more time. We play them in a few weeks, and I'm looking forward to that game. That's a game that I think that we're going to scalp them.
So we have Liverpool, which is going to be a real test of what this team is capable of.
West Ham.
West Ham is going to be a severe test because they're also a team that you can't do anything cute. You have to figure out a way to beat them, and they're going to give everybody trouble. So
they look good. They finally look like a quality team. I haven't seen a West Ham team in our life this good.
It's like Moyes at Everton would make these teams that were legitimately good,
hard to beat.
Yeah, just at one tier below, maybe battling for fourth and fifth, but that's a tough team. And especially the way the teams are right now, with the big six and whatever, there's no space, if there's another.
It's only getting better. Conte went to Spurs and Gerrard went to Villa today.
Oh, really?
And he's the Villa manager now. So that they're going to get better. And then Newcastle has Eddie Howe now. That they're going to get better. The league is only the league isn't slowing down. When a manager gets sacked and people are looking to make moves way more, they're realizing that this league is not just busier than it ever was, but more popular than it's ever been. And it's feisty out there. It's great to watch though. I've never enjoyed the Premier League as much as I think I am lately.
We're getting into a good era. For a while, I felt like it was stale. It was the Man City era where it's just they bought the championships. Yes, they were good. They have the best manager. They have the best players. They have the best system. They have the best, everything. They paid for it. Yeah, you still have to do it, but they paid for it. It felt like that, and now it's getting to the point where they're just getting a lot of competition. And you see something, we're seeing the Arsenal homegrown spirit of class. And I like our position and trajectory in our academy. I like that whole vibe, even going into a harder, more competitive league. I prefer it almost to where Man United's at, where they've tried to buy old stars, Cavani, and they've been the cynical, okay, we're going to get the good player, the experienced player, the big name, spend the money. And it's worked out as well or less well than it has for us. So
I mean, they
I
haven't won anything. They haven't won anything in a long time. We at
no,
least won the FA Cup a couple
yeah,
years ago. They haven't. They,
them in the past
yeah,
5, 6, however long, and I guess yeah.
theirs feels like when I think about what they're doing, I think you hit it right on the head there. Like they're going in a fashion of let's just throw some money at the problem and see if that'll fix it. Or like they've run out of ideas. They don't have they don't have a crop of young players that are coming through their academy that are like really exciting. They just don't ever seem to be doing that ever. They kind of are like, oh, we'll go buy Anthony Martial when he's 19 or 20 and try to do it that way. And then those don't seem to pan out for them either a lot of the time. And then a couple years go by and they're like, oh God, what do we do now? And then like Ronaldo was like a panic decision buy for them at the end of the summer. That was never part of their plan. Like I don't think that they were ever like, hey, let's
How are
try
we
to
gonna
bring
integrate?
CR7 back. Like,
Yeah, well, we already have Martial, Rashford, Greenwood, Jaden Sancho, who all like can't really find place. Like they're all kind of rotating because one is good and the other's not good, and but they all should really start. They're all start worthy players. Then you just drop in Ronaldo, and they're just like, oh fuck, dude.
I
I was
know
barely getting by now, and now it's just over.
yeah, and it's like kind of like, what do you do with that? Like you're like obviously he's got to play, and you're not going to not play him.
Goals.
Yeah,
Without him, if you take away what he's done, they're in relegation form almost and completely out of competitions.
Which is kind of crazy that like he's the one, he's 30, he's a month older than me. He's out there holding the team together. Like, dude,
he's better than he was when he left, and that was hard to imagine. He was like the best player in the Premier League in one of the hardest eras.
Which I do think is impressive. I still think that that's impressive. I'm still happy that he's at United because like I do love watching him in the Premier League, and I think it's interesting. I like him as a player, but like, dude, how unfortunate. Like that's like years ago when we re-signed Henri for what we were trying to do, and that was completely ridiculous. It was completely like, what are you doing? This dude is like 12 or 12. It's like, dude, he did score against Leeds, but he looked a shadow of the player. He was older, and it was like we were hoping that Henri was going to solve some problem that was so deep going on at the club.
Wow, it's like I can't even believe we did that. You know what I mean?
Oh my God! I mean, how embarrassing! Like to have to do that, to go after. Like, we need you back to help us, and like we've not moved forward.
Like
yeah,
weird. And in comparison to that, where we're at right now feels just jolly, like Gabriel is 23, Ben White's 23. That means they can play for 10 more years in that partnership,
dude. And if this team, I don't know, who knows what's good this season's going to do and next season's going to do. But obviously, all of those dudes, for the most part, at Arsenal are going to be there next year. Almost all of them. And they're only going to get better. They're only going to get better. And like lately they have that swagger and that ball movement that like we used to do. They look silky. They look dynamic. They look like they're looking wide. They look like they're playing. Just it doesn't look stale. It looks like there's a lot of ideas out there. And I'm just so thrilled that it's the way that it is right now.
It looks real. It's not we beat City because we parked the bus and we just found a way, and Aubameyang scored one goal, and it's like what we're doing right now feels legitimate, real quality.
Well, and you can see what they're doing. I love watching the game. I love watching soccer in general, and I like. Rachel doesn't know as much about it, and she's actually learning. She like loves Arsenal, and like she was into watching City play before because they were really good and we weren't as good. But now like someone that doesn't really understand soccer that can see like, oh, the gaps are open, and I see like why they're playing in the back and like drawing them forward. And then it's just boom, then you just like eat them apart. And like we just keep the ball. We know how to keep the ball. They know there's no one slowing the game down in the middle of the field, and there's no one, it's just it looks really good. And I hope that it continues. And I know that we're going to lose games here and there. That's inevitable. But you gotta feel good about the fact that they've made a lot of progress at this juncture.
Totally. And I believe it. And I feel like after Spurs, seeing what we did to Spurs, even though they played terribly, but it was like, okay, they have it. Now it's just about believing it, like playing Liverpool. What does Liverpool have that we don't have right now? The only thing that they have, I think, is that they go into every single game they play. It doesn't matter who they're playing, Real Madrid, Barcelona, Atletico Madrid, Bayern Munich, City, and they expect to win. Mo Salah expects to win. He thinks he's going to win. He's going to score. They have that belief, and you have to make them disbelieve that. You have to make them. Whereas we're like, I still think we haven't quite, but we're getting to the point where we're like looking forward to playing because we want to do more good things. Like I want to score a really simple, I can't wait to play. Oh, who are we playing? Aston Villa? Oh, I'm going to do something against them. 1,000%. Instead of being kind of, oh, okay, now we got to play Aston Villa. They smashed us last season.
Hey, that was a good win recently. Villa's hard to beat. And Buendia chose them over us. And we have our former goalkeeper there.
They wanted ESR for 25 million pounds.
Dude, and that would have been such a mistake.
No, well, I mean,
dude, he can never leave. He might be a lifelong Arsenal player. He's a fan. Like as long as they keep getting better and someone else like Barcelona doesn't come along or like.
No, I mean, honestly, where we're at right now is like we could sell, and I don't necessarily hope it happens, but we could sell Pepe to Barcelona for 50 mil.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
And we can replace him.
Like it would be painful. I don't really want anyone of the top players to leave, but we're in a position where we could possibly actually do that. Whereas before we were hoping to get players that we knew didn't want to come, or they would just get picked off for really cheap because they wanted to leave. But now where it's getting to the point where we might have so many good players that we can't fit them all. And one player is too good to sit the bench. So he'll just go to another team for a high price.
Yeah. Well, I mean, we even have finally we got the players like out of the starting lineup, like Holding and Chambers and Lenny and said, it's like now we just need to build the depth. We need on those positions, those players. We need someone that you're like, oh, that dude can come on. Dude can come on, and you're like, oh, that's we're City's bench and Liverpool's bench. When you look to their bench, you're like, oh fuck, like they.
Like Real Madrid. I mean,
we
look like there's no gaps. They feel high quality all the time. So
always, it's so we're I think we're getting there. We've made a lot of progress. It's hard to I still hate the Cronkies, and I watched that interview the other day that you sent, and then after I went on Sky and the whole thing was on there too, and I had watched it and I mean, at least they're trying, I guess. At least they're bullshitting trying, even if they're not sincere. At least they're making some effort, I guess, as ownership to try to make amends and trying to not have all the fans hate them. I do wish there was different lifeblood into the top of the club, and maybe that'll change. But who knows? Maybe, I don't have a feeling that I do believe him when he says that it's not for sale and that they're not going to sell. I think that he is being sincere about that fact, and that's a little unfortunate.
People describe him as Kroenke's son, but he's not Kroenke's son. He's the heir to the Walmart fortune.
Yeah, he is. He's, I mean,
Where
they're,
he's coming from, like you have to like realize like he's not thinking like, oh, I'm some executive and we're not gonna
yeah,
sell. He's like, even the way he looks. I mean, look at that motherfucker.
yeah, he looks,
He looks like fucking Lucifer himself, or like
he,
I was saying, the
he
bad
does.
Braveheart, dude. You can tell he's waxed his beard down, like, and like waxed his eyebrows. Like, a dude doesn't do that if he's not confident as fuck. And he's confident the way a billionaire who's been a billionaire since he was born is confident.
Sure, for sure. Like he knows, like we have money. We don't have to do anything if you don't want us to do anything. Like I don't know. It's just
My question to you is, it's intriguing because I hate the Cronkies. Cronky out all day. Fuck the
yeah,
Cronkies. I don't think that we misunderstood their lack of quality in the past 15 years, to be honest.
no,
I think
no,
it's justified. I think Cronky himself doesn't give a fuck. He let Wenger in because that was his easy way where he could just not deal with what was happening across the pond. Wenger just completely got out of touch with reality and what the game was changing into, made completely bought into the wrong style. You've mentioned it before where he thought it was going to all be like tiny little technical
yeah.
players, and that didn't work out at all. But my question is to you is, do you think, I'm intrigued by Josh Kroenke because it seems like he's saying like, this is me. Like this is him making his name,
Yeah.
And
Yeah, maybe
ultimately,
he wants to be successful. So maybe
right.
he really cares.
And ultimately, don't we really, what we're saying when Kroenke out is like, because Kroenke doesn't care. So we want someone who actually competes. Will Daniel Ek compete? We think so. Or Usmanov, or
Yeah.
Kim Butte, or another dictator from some other place,
Yeah, because
but
it's all the same, right? They're all a billionaire in some regard.
the
And they're like
billionaire
who
who will try and actually compete and who's willing to spend money on players when it makes sense and yada, yada, yada. If Josh Kroenke does that, where do you stand with him?
I guess I like that's a tough question because like I mean my fantasy team name is Cronky Out FC. So like I am fully with you on that Cronky Out all day. But the question you're posing is an interesting one, and I think I kind of thought about it the other day as well when I watched that. Is like if this dude does care, like you're saying, like if he this could be his legacy. Daddy is off doing whatever else, but like he is the director of the club right now,
Yeah.
and
He's
and
taking it on, as he wants to be the face of it. It's not his dad. It's not owned by Stan Kroenke. He wants to get the credit, I think.
then I hope he's successful. Then like what we're doing right now, like I don't want us to be relegated. I don't want us to like obviously we want them gone. I just don't think it's going to happen. So in the meantime, I'd rather them like, this is best case scenario if he actually does care. If he's there week in and week out right now and he's like actually caring about the club and he's starting to develop like an affinity towards it, that's ideal.
Yeah. I mean,
That's what we could have hoped for, right?
right. That's what I'm saying. And that's why it's like
Yeah.
the same thing with Arteta. It's like you say Arteta, but okay, which Arteta? Because the Arteta right now, yes. The Arteta of last year, no. The Kroenke, Josh Kroenke, whatever Kroenke of last year and all the years before, fuck no. But if you change your mind, because I don't support the owners of Arsenal. I've never been an owners of Arsenal fan.
Yeah.
I'm an
Yeah.
Arsenal fan. I want them to win. And they have a organic spirit and class about Arsenal that is flourishing right now. And it's flourishing because we have an owner who doesn't know enough to fuck with it, I think. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But we
Yeah.
need a lot of help. We need funding. We need backing. If he can just do that and he's like, okay, I trust you, and Arteta grows into the system and becomes his potential that he can be, we might have a recipe for success. And if we do, I don't give a fuck who owns the team.
I agree because like it's kind of all the same, right? I mean, what you got Abramovich at Chelsea, You got the United Arab Emirates owners at City. You got the Saudi owners at Newcastle. You got the Fenway Gillette team at Liverpool. You got the Glaziers at United. I mean, we have this billionaires club situation anyway, which you have to be a billionaire to own one of these clubs anyway. And to be fair, I don't particularly see the Glaziers at United every week either. And it's not like that's like their bread and butter of what they're doing. Besides Abramovich, a lot of them are kind of hands off. So, I mean, I think you're making an interesting point. I agree. The Josh Kroenke said some interesting things in that interview the other day. Like I didn't agree with all of it, but he was humble in certain parts of it. That dude did press him pretty hard on the Super League. Yeah. And he was like, we made a mistake and we would never do that ever again. And we would consult the fans before making any decision like that. And they're meeting with fans and they have been trying to have more discussion back and forth. So hopefully it's a new leaf. I think it's a decent way to think about it, at least, and what's going on.
I think it's like the whole club and the fan base is in a place right now where if they believe, they can do it. But we're not out of the woods yet. It's like that Watford game. It's like, yeah, it should have been 3-0 at halftime. It was 0-0 at halftime.
No, yeah.
Like Watford still could have won. That mistake by Ramsdale, they could score. They were like we utterly controlled and managed the game, which is even more important. We managed a game. We're managing games. We weren't doing that before, but we did that.
We haven't
but we still felt like we're not out of the woods yet. And I feel like that's how we are right now with Arteta, with the squad, definitely with the Cronkies. They have to show us the most and prove the most, I think.
Oh yeah.
Then Arteta, then the squad. But I like where we're heading. It's still a wait and see. We need proof. But this spirit right now, I do support. And I don't want to be against anything because of some other thing. I'm not loyal to any fucking opinion I once had about anyone. Show me something better. Football that's the way football is,
Yeah, I mean they seem to be, we as fans, we were super mad at the Cronkies and the organization, and I think fans made it clear about what they want and expect, and it seems to be changing. So you can't hate someone forever if they're changing something to make it better for something that you love, and they did. We wanted them to spend money. We've been asking for that a long time. You made it
most money.
Yeah, and you made a great point just now. Like managing games, we haven't been able to manage games since before 2010. I'd say, we would lose games winning 3-0. I mean, we were winning 4-0 at Newcastle one time and drew 4-4 under Arsene Wenger.
And I feel like that was the year. That might have been the year that Leicester won the league. That kind of
thing.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, and we've done that so many times where we were winning like 3 or 4-0 and we lost or drew the game under Wenger. So like, the tide has turned a little bit. We'll see. I'm like you. I'm overly cautious to think that we're out of it all the way. I think the vital signs look really good right now, though. Like I feel jazzed about the crop of players we have. Like I personally, like when I watch a lot of soccer. I try to watch a lot of Premier League games each weekend, and the Saka Smith Rowe partnership and that whole team dynamic that we have going on, it's like my favorite. I love that shit. Like, and those two specifically together are just so happy. I love
on their faces is pure joy. It's pure joy of football. Saka says it too. He's like, it's just like playing, as a kid, having fun. Emil is obsessed with it. Like now we have a partnership. We have a sick goalie, an epic partnership in the center midfield or center defense. We have one in the midfield, and we have Lacazette and Aubameyang up top. That's the kind of Arsenal that I get excited about.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah,
that's
I know.
the shit I
It's
wake up
great.
for on Saturday morning and is like, fuck yeah, let's do it.
I know it's great. It's and it's interesting. Like back to Wenger, kind of. I saw something the other day. He he's so contradictory. That man. I don't know what's going on with Arsene Wenger in his life, and I feel like he's at odds with a lot of things. And like he that audio book, the book that he put out says one thing, and then the other day he's talking about managing a team again, like he wants to manage like a national team perhaps, and but he's also happy with FIFA, his role there, and then also regrets not leaving Arsenal now and going somewhere else, and not spending the latter part of his years. I just think it's very interesting to see all these like different reports coming out about him, and I I don't know. Well, wonder what's going on with that person in general. Like it he did really wrong by the club over a long haul, holding on for so long. I mean, I even forgot he got sacked. Yeah, I forgot that he got sacked. Like,
Yeah. I mean, the ceremonious asked for his resignation at the end of the year, kind of sacking nonetheless. And he has a very complicated legacy now because
yeah,
what he used to embody the pure positivity of football.
yeah,
Invincible. You can't take that achievement away. You know what I mean? Like it's invincible, it's untouchable. It's absolutely amazing to think about, another team ever doing it again.
we got to wait another year at least. And every Liverpool lost the other day to make that a reality again for Arsenal. And it's gonna last. It's such a hard thing to do what they did. And yeah, I don't know. He's a confusing one, I think. I respect him as a manager, but then again, like he's also, I think it's weird what he's doing with FIFA, trying to make the World Cup every 2 years. And like I feel like he's a relic trying to hold on and make the game different. And you're like, dude, you're old, and like that is not where we're at now. That
Yeah.
nobody wants the World Cup every 2 years. Like that's stupid.
Yeah, he's like too intellectual and trying to conceptualize these things, and it's like, no, it's not. And that's how he saw football at a certain point. He was trying to like, wouldn't it be cool if I put a little tiny left back as a forward, and you're like, no, it didn't work. It doesn't work.
Yeah, it doesn't work. Yeah, it's like, sorry, man, it's not the way.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, Bellerin had a terrible own goal the other day, I guess, for Real Betis.
I've been watching him because La Liga's on ESPN. So if Betis is on, I'll watch it, and I kind of just like look out for Bellerin, and does the same shit, dude.
Yeah,
I swear,
it doesn't surprise me.
I have a dude, Nabil Fekir, who for a while,
I know that is
rated forward. He's always deeper than Bellerin, always, and it's like he's one of their attacking players, and Bellerin just kind of jog back, get the ball, pass it, point somewhere. I saw someone their captain got subbed off, and he handed the bat. He's like, okay, here, and like Bellerin was the closest dude. Handed the armband to Bellerin. Bellerin takes it and is like looking around, and then he's running over to someone else to get like, I don't want it. Here, you take it. Get out.
Your impression of him is really good, actually. Like it's like lackluster. Fucking.
It's like he's kind of running with like, like
he does do that.
Like, oh yeah, and it's no big deal, and you're like, okay.
I love it. That's like spot on of what he's like.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, so I think the great thing is that we look to have turned a leaf.
Definitely. Now we have a break. Some players get a rest,
Yep.
We'll see how it turns out.
and we, yeah, I think it's on the up and up. I think it's looking good for us. I hope, we have we have an early game on Saturday. I know it's the 9:30 a.m. game, not this Saturday, next Saturday. So we can talk next week as well. Come back and I'm sure we'll have something to discuss. I bet you Emil Smith Rowe is going to make his England debut at some point during this period. And he's going to be buzzing. I mean, he's already on cloud nine.
That's what we want, like that feeling of having it back again.
Who's your favorite player on the Arsenal squad right at the moment?
Well, I mean, people were saying like, who's your man of the match of last game?
Yeah, because Niles got it, right? Didn't he?
I think he did. But
Yeah.
I was saying Ben White was the man
Yeah.
of the match. But also it's like we're having these games where like multiple people could be man of the match, and that's a good problem. Who's my favorite player? It's hard not to say Aubameyang, Lacazette, but I mean, it's hard of the starting lineup. There's no one really I don't love. There's not anyone that I'm kind of like, I wouldn't really didn't like. No, they're all good.
Yeah, they're all good. Yeah,
Pepe, Martinelli, Tierney are all on the bench, and I like all of those players. So
I know. And Tavares, I just really like Nuno Tavares.
Dude.
Dude, sick. Sick. He's sick. He's huge. Yeah, he's just so fast. It's just interesting to watch that dude. He looks like, I don't know. He something about that guy. Like he looks after it. And
yeah. He's whipping in crosses. He wants to be a Alexander Arnold, like.
I mean, he's ripping shots with his right foot sometimes, and you're just like, dude, this dude just is goal hungry. I love a defender that tries to score and stuff. And Ben White, agreed. Ben White is fantastic. His dribbling ability and his ball control and his ball playing ability is just so good. He can play a long ball on a dime.
For sure. It's good. There's room for improvement in all aspects for sure, but I like it.
Let me know I'm going to be at the Emirates next month. You let me know if you want something when I'm there.
Definitely.
From the armory.
I want to get Nazanin because we call her Nuno, or we call her Nuno, but like I call her Nuno a lot, and that's I always did before. And so I want to get an infant jersey. It says Nuno on it,
I can pick up something for her and Claire if you want while we're there.
That'd be tight.
Yeah.
What fight you're getting to go?
Trying to. I'll know on Monday. Monday the red member tickets get released to the rest. So it looks like there's tickets still available for the city game. So I think we'll be all right for the club level because we're gonna buy like a little bit nicer tickets. And so it should be doable. It's really hard to get fucking tickets to Arsenal.
I bet. But
like it's and just the Premier League in general. I mean,
it's getting more and more crazy.
Yeah, and you gotta be a member of every club to buy tickets for that club. So like we want to go to like a Palace game. So I need to buy a membership to Palace just so I can buy tickets to go there.
Get a Patrick,
which is like
dude,
that stadium looks the only one that doesn't require it is Chelsea. Might go to Chelsea just because it's easy to buy tickets. So they're playing Brighton. So
should be.
Yeah. All right, mate. Well, we'll be back. We'll be back. Thanks for joining us. And we'll be back next week. We'll try to make it a little more frequent. We were off a couple of weeks,
Yeah. Hopefully we'll pick it back up right before the next game against Liverpool.
Can't wait.
Let's do it.
Come on, Arsenal. Thanks for joining us.